Welcome back, everybody. I am about a week back at home from Sturgis now, which was a fantastic trip, as usual, as could be expected. And of course, I came home after being gone for 2 weeks to a lot of things I needed to take care of at home. Life was continuing at home while I'm out having fun, so needless to say, I came home to a lot of stuff to do. And right now I'm watching my 5-year-old racing up and down the street on his brand new Razor electric dirt bike, which is I'm sure thrilling everybody around here. Anyhow, hey, I'm going to cover a bunch of things that happened out in Sturgis. A couple things definitely want to share. I had a brand new trailer, which I put the biker bars on for hauling 3 touring bikes out. They worked fantastic. Lots of other things to talk about. Let's get into it. Here he goes. Five years old, pretty damn proud of him. Yeah, so while I'm sitting here watching my little one running up and down the sidewalk on a electric Razor scooter motorcycle, I want to tell you one thing that happened down in Sturgis, and that was that I have a if you saw one of my earlier videos, I had a Custom Dynamics Pro Beam LED add-on mini taillight on my Road Glide. And while I was out there, we did have a day of pretty heavy rain, and one thing I noticed was that I got condensation in my taillight. So I notified Custom Dynamics while I was out there, and I had to go through some process of proof of purchase. And send some pictures, which I took about 3 or 4 pictures of it. And I got home and finally finished that claim, I guess you'd call it, because Custom Dynamics will warranty their stuff. And shortly after, I got a brand new taillight assembly in the mail. Thank you, Custom Dynamics. That's the way customer service should be. So I'll show you some pictures of what happened there, and then I'll show you some of the other things, some of the other images of Sturgis, which should entertain some of you folks, and some of the good, some of the bad, and just some good information. Hopefully, if you ever plan to go to Sturgis, it's definitely a bucket list thing. So definitely do it. There's riding for every level of rider. It's a good time. So one opinion I'd like to share about are my last 2 trips to Sturgis with the folks I was with. We stayed at the Buffalo Chip, and so the Buffalo Chip is fun. There's no doubt about it. There's concerts every night, with a variety of music. You know, this year it kind of ranged from Styx and REO Speedwagon all the way up to you know, legendaries like ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner, and then we even had some of the more wild acts like Limp Bizkit. That was fun. That was a great night. They really rocked it. But one of the other things you're not going to get away from with the buffalo chip is depending on the weather, and it's generally hot out there, hot and dry. I mean, we're talking about prairie land out there in the, you know, eastern Wyoming, South Dakota, and stuff like that. It's for the most part prairie land, except for the Badlands. You know, the Badlands are a very unique area of South Dakota where you've got really nice, you know, like some rugged mountainous areas and vegetation and things like that. But so the Buffalo Chip campground is it could be one extreme or the other and everything in between. On the extreme end, when it's hot and dry, it is a dust bowl in there. There is just dust that gets into everything, on everything. It's continuous, it's nonstop, and you know, in hindsight, that's better than the other extreme, which we had this year. We had some pretty heavy rains, and the campground turned into a mud bog. Uh, Hardly passable by motorcycle unless you really took a good line of grass, which wasn't always available. If you took a line of grass to get through the campground, you could make it, but a lot of the times you were navigating through 6, 8, 10 inches of mud, and many bikes got dropped, and that's not cool. The chip needs to fix that because no one wants to take a $30,000-$40,000 motorcycle out there and start dropping it in mud constantly. And then the other issue became, you know, when people were able to get out of the campground, and that's trucks, cars, motorcycles, it created muddy, dirty roads for, you know, at least a mile on any and every roadway in and out of the Buffalo Chip. So, you know, even when it dries up, it still leaves kind of slick roads. Dirty, dusty roads are, you know, the slightest bit of rain could turn those into slippery mud. And it was a little nerve-wracking, I guess, for me. I'm not a expert rider, but it still left me a little, you know, anxious trying to get out of those dirty roads and just get out and get some riding in. Just keep that in mind. I think I'm done with the Buffalo Chip. Let me make that comment. I really don't want to go there again. I'll go there again on a particular night to maybe see a band, but I think my days of camping out there are over, just because we lost at least a good day and a half of riding because we were stuck. I mean, we were stuck in the Chip campground unless we, you know, didn't care to drop our bikes on the way out and have them, you know, basically you're riding a muddy motorcycle. I'm not on a BMX bike. I'm on a street machine, you know, $30,000 street machine that I want to keep it clean. Sorry, I want to keep it clean, you know. And that was just one of the problems this year was I had mud all over my motorcycle. I think it's going to take a few months of riding it to kind of get all that, you know, the nooks and crannies that I can't reach with a you know, brushes of different sizes and shapes. I just can't get everything clean on that bike right now. It's and I've used washcloths and push my fingers into every, you know, corner I could on the motorcycle, and I just still have dirt in places, and it's just not cool. That's just not cool. Chip needs to do something about that. Many of their camping sites, he doesn't even have a paved perimeter road that goes around the camping sites, which is the very least that should be happening. It'd be nice if the roads going down every lane of the sites was paved as well, but you know, I don't know. I guess the campground's really only open for the 2 to 3 weeks that is Sturgis Bike Week, and so I guess he just doesn't care. He just maybe he wants to try to keep the old school way of doing things. And you know, if you want to go out there and you want to camp out, you're just going to deal with it. But you know, for some of us, having not been there before and then we tried it out, like I said, the last 2 times, I'm not going back there. It's just it took away some of my time there, and that's not cool. So just wanted to share that with you. Maybe that helps you out, maybe you don't care, and that's, you know, to each their own. That's just my opinion. I'm not a sissy about it, but when you take up my riding time, that's a problem for me. You know, we went 1,400 miles to get out there to ride, and although we squeezed it in, we jam-packed it in for the rest of the days, but that still was not fun to be sitting in a camper for a day or day and a half. Okay, so a couple other things I thought were that I saw out in Sturgis for the first time. This is some products for the motorcycles. As we were riding around out there, we started to notice on usually on the road glides, we'd notice guys are riding, and their lights were just bright as all hell, and they were yellow. They were yellow, and they were brighter than the stock, you know, LED lights that come on the road glide. And you know, the other guy I was riding with, he has a Fast Johnny road glide, and we were wanting to look into what that was, and so we found them. There was a company out there by the name of Cali Raised Moto, and they have, I guess, teamed up with the manufacturer of the lights, which is BD. Man, that's the print so small. That's what happens when you get old. Oh, Baja Designs. Baja Designs. That name kind of gives away the fact that these are technically off-road lighting, and they're not DOT approved for motorcycles as headlights because they're too bright, and they're bright. But so Baja Designs has teamed up with Cali Raised Moto, and so Cali Raised Moto has a assembly or a kit for road glides, and I'm sure the other models as well. You could have 2 yellow lights, you could have one white, one yellow, and I thought it was actually kind of cool looking. We had concerns initially about, well, are you allowed to have yellow lights as headlights? And on a road glide, you can get away with it, especially because you've got one white light and one yellow light, if you choose to run it that way. And I was gonna consider buying into it. Of course, I'm gonna be, I don't have a bottomless, bank account. So I found a vendor, this guy, and I asked him, so how much is that kit for the road glide? And it cha-ching, came in at $1,500, and I said, forget it. I'm not spending $1,500 on lights. I've got lights. I don't need, I don't need lights that bad. So anyway, if you're interested, that's who that was, and those are really cool looking. Those are going to catch on and be popular, I do believe, unless the man starts, busting you for having those lights, and you don't want to keep paying fines for that. The one guy got away with it, he said, because they're adjustable. He said he tilted them down far enough to where I guess it wasn't hitting any oncoming traffic in the face, which cops kind of get ticked off over that. One of the other things we did see is we stopped at Clockworks tent over at Black Hills Harley Davidson, and besides their windshields, which are really nice, they're pretty top quality stuff, they do have a wide variety of phone mounts now too. And what's really nice is it'll take existing hardware that's in your control grips, take two of your screws out of there. They have a bracket that basically slips right into that. They'll give you some longer hardware because it's going to require some spacers behind the bracket to stand off the curve, and it'll provide a really easy attachment and a clean look too. And that style basically has it's got like a half ball semicircular mounting surface for the phone, and on the back of the phone is a magnetic cup that will stick to the back of the phone. Then you put it onto the ball surface, and then it's adjustable in a wide range of angles so that you can get it just right for you. And the strength of that is pretty good. It's not going to fall off. You have to pull that off to get that phone to come off. And that was it was eye mounts by Clockworks. That was they had some pretty good products, and they had a variety of styles to however you want to mount it. If you don't want to permanently mount a bracket on your controls, they had what would clamp on the bar. They had a strap that would strap onto the bar, and like I said, they had a variety of different mounting systems, which was they were all pretty good quality, and I didn't see any of them being any less secure than the others. Of course, a direct mounting screws is about as secure as you're going to get, but good systems, pretty good systems. My buddy actually bought, I was interested in the one ball mount that used the two screws for the control hardware, and he ended up buying the last one, so he got the last one, and that retailed for like $100. So just a couple more products out there I ran into that I thought were either the latest or really cool. And anyhow, there was a wide arrangement, wide variety of vendors that usually camps out at Black Hills Harley Davidson, and they're there all week, so it's a great time to see some products, new products and stuff. And a lot of, there's getting to be more and more stuff on the performance side because of, I think, the Bagger Racing League is definitely bringing a lot more performance to these big events. You got a lot of tuners out there, exhaust tuners and everything, into the engine, everything. So really good time. Sturgis was this was a great year out there. I think the crowd was down You know, typically you're going to have a crowd of about 500,000 riders. I think it was a down year. I think there was less than 500,000. But that's fine, you know, it just opens the roads up a little bit. There was no shortage of people to party with, and you know, I saw no trouble the whole time I was out there. You know, no funny business, nothing weird. Occasionally you saw something on the news, but that was, you know, I think it was a very random times and moments of somebody getting crazy. But for the most part, 99.9% of it was a blast. So add it to your bucket list and do it. It's worth the trip. Here's the trailer I bought specifically for Sturgis. It is the Sure-Trac 7x16 utility trailer. I do believe it's called the utility trailer. It proved to be fantastic for hauling 3 touring Harley Davidsons out. All right, with this being a 16-foot trailer, my intention was to have possibly 4 bikes on here. We ended up only taking 3. And the way that I chose to put everything in here is I bought 3 biker bar assemblies for the touring bikes. And there's a different assembly number or model number for Softails. We had 3 touring bikes, so I bought the 3 touring bike biker bars, and I used our existing wheel chocks. The only thing I did differently, because the biker bar alone is going to hold the motorcycle, truly. I just proved it. 3,000 miles, no straps whatsoever on the bikes. However, as an extra precaution, or because I already had the trailer sort of set up this way, what I did was we had 2 motorcycles in the front, okay? I believe I was using those right there. So I had 2 motorcycles in the front, side by side, for the purpose of not having any issues with fairings or handlebars. I had a road glide here and I had a street glide over there. So you got different fairings, different positioning of handlebars and fairings. So there was never an issue with you know, anything getting close. As a matter of fact, we had more space than we thought we were going to have. So I left the wheel chocks in place. I only took the rear cradles off. And then through the process of lots and lots of measuring, I figured out a place to mount the biker bar base plate. And where these bolts are is where it was actually, you know, bolted down into. I'm just going to set it here for discussion purposes. And this is the biker bar. You got this 2-piece bar assembly that basically, as you can see, this is going to clamp onto the bottom of the frame. And once this is clamped onto the bottom of the frame, this is the bike frame. And now with this bolted down to the trailer deck, your bike's going to roll up into here, engage into these slots, and it locks into place. Now there's extra safety measures where you can bolt the brackets together so that these can never loosen up. And we did that. We put bolts through both sides to lock the brackets. And then you also, you know, during the installation process, you tighten down the clamp an extra quarter turn, and these will actually be like this, clamped onto your bike frame. And then you can see here, there's a place where you can put a bolt which basically locks the bar, keeps the bar tight onto the frame. So this proved to be an ideal and almost perfect way of trailering three big touring motorcycles. The last motorcycle, I ended up, the wheel chock was straddled between the saddlebags, and it worked out perfectly. We had plenty of gap between the back fender of the back motorcycle and the gate, and there's lots of space between that front, between this chock and the saddlebags. Nothing moved. All right, you only saw vibration in the bikes because of what was probably, you know, bending a little bit or flexing of the boards, but that proved to be perfect. I had these anchors in place just for the idea of we were maybe going to strap the front wheels in just to prevent any possibility of things sliding. We never used them. Everything was perfect. 3,000 miles of trailering a motorcycle, and we had zero issues. Another thing to mention about the biker bar itself is, so we had 3 touring Harley Davidsons, and those were between a 2015 and a 2023. And so the biker bar assembly is sold based on the model you're attaching it to. Touring bikes are all going to have a number 2301 model number, and I think the Softails and I think Sportsters might have their own different model number biker bar as well. But one thing I heard from when we were in Sturgis, one thing a fellow camper there had told us, he has a legit transport company, and he transported 26 motorcycles out there in a 53-foot tractor trailer. And he said, if you are running Vance and Hines pipes, you cannot attach a bar to the bottom of that frame. The pipes interfere with the frame or where the biker bar is going to attach. Another thing he mentioned is beginning 2024, Harley Davidson frames are now different on the touring bikes, and you cannot use the biker bar, the existing biker bars on those model years. So it was actually some good information from him as well. And as far as the biker bar, I don't know what else to say. I think it's a fantastic product. I bought 3 of them for this trip for 3 touring bikes. They retail for $380 plus tax. I don't know where you can find them any cheaper, or if you can get a discount for multiple purchases. I paid $400 a piece. That's with tax. I just bought them all on Amazon for the ease of the purchase and the simplicity of getting them delivered. I went that route. So one of the things that happened out in Sturgis, actually it happened just prior to me going out there, was I had a new tire put on. And I pulled the wheel off myself, took it to the local shop. They installed the tire. I put it back on, and I discovered that once I was out there in Sturgis, and I had test rode it here at home, but I don't know. I didn't. I guess I didn't judge it good enough. What happened was I had too much slack in my belt, which is really, really bad, because going on and off the throttle, you get a little bit of that jerking motion because the belt's getting loose and then taunt, loose and then taunt. And the other bad thing, so that's bad in the case of what was going on in Sturgis with a lot of slick roads. You go to, do a smooth start, and you got, a jerking motion at your, or a quick snap of your back wheel. It can put you on the ground real quick. Um, but so while I was in Sturgis, it became unbearable to me to keep riding that way. And the other bad thing with it could possibly cause wheel spin on a slippery surface. The other bad thing is that constant, you know, how do I want to say that? The constant jerking back and forth of the belt on a sprocket. It's putting a lot of that. It's putting a lot of like impact pressure on the teeth of the belts, which could end up prematurely breaking the teeth on the belt, or it could ratchet, what they call ratchet. It'll slip off the maybe the front sprocket because there's not many teeth engaged on that front sprocket, and it can either way, it's going to lead to premature wear of your belt. So while I was out there, we did a shade tree adjustment on my belt, and I had just done it when I installed the wheel here at my house. And as I was doing it out there, I had, a small audience of people watching me do it. And right away, guys are like, "Oh, you got to put that up on a lift. You can't have weight on the tire." Read the manual. I always do. But to please everybody, I don't know why. I listen to them. I put it up on a jack stand, one of those short little square ones. Got the weight off the wheel, and we were measuring it. And we were also measuring it against my buddy's 2023 Road Glide, which is, I'm sure, still in factory setting of the belt tension. And but I think because we did it in the air, it was wrong again. I went through the process of doing the whole tightening just to find out it was wrong again when I started riding. So the torque is 135 to 145 foot-pounds. And I didn't have a half-inch drive torque wrench or my 36 millimeter socket for the cone nut. So I was basically using a Bonnie wrench with another wrench, the box end of another wrench kind of used to extend it out, and I was just hammering down on it. And everybody was like, "Oh, you're going too tight, you're going too tight." And when I told them it was 140 foot-pounds, is where I would set it at, they were in disbelief of that. And I was right, they were wrong, because they don't read manuals and they use tribal knowledge of, their Uncle Joe's cousins. So I didn't readjust it a second time while I was out there. I dealt with the sloppy belt, and shame on me, because I probably uh, put a lot of unnecessary stress on my bike, but I was going very easy because of like I said, the poor conditions of the roads out there. But since then, I brought it home, and I've redone it. It's nice and tight now. No more slop. So that was all I wanted to kind of touch on. Like I said, I had mud everywhere. I'm going to replace my light assembly here. It sucks because it's dried up now, but I'm sure with another heavy rain, not that this bike's going to sit out in heavy rain like it did out in Sturgis, but that got moisture in it, and that's bad. That's going to end up getting probably dirty inside of it and everything, and I'll just change it out. Maybe I'll give the old assembly to somebody if they're, it's better than nothing, I guess. Or they can do whatever they want with it. It's going to go in the garbage from me. So that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna probably do a 5,000 mile service pretty soon and go over some things. The other thing I wanted to really go over was a lot of the new bikes have different modes, and you can find this all over YouTube. But one of the common things we had to use on the trip was putting your bike in trailer mode, which is very, very simple. Another thing was what happened out a lot at the campground we were at was if you were on a new motorcycle and it tips, or you rest it on its side. Let's say you rested it on its side because you're slipping in mud. It might trigger the tip on the computer. So there's a way to reset that. I'll go over that real quick in another video. So stay tuned, check in again, and we'll see you next time.